Hey everybody, welcome to this new episode of Do You Want to Teach in China? I believe this is part 4, so this series is really pretty crazy. I didn't expect to be doing so many. This episode is going to be about what kind of questions you want to ask your prospective employers, things you want to ask your school about when it comes time to, look at contracts and when it's time to actually get down to the details of you teaching at this school. Now, these questions you want to ask definitely before you sign any kind of contract. Now, some of the things you're going to want to ask the school, of course, are pretty obvious. How many classes will you be teaching? How many hours will you be teaching each week? How many students are in each class, roughly? What are the age of the students? Things like that. Those are very basic questions that you need to ask. And these are going to vary widely depending on what kind of school you apply to. If you apply to university, your average hours teaching are definitely going to be under 20, probably around 14, 16, or 18. If you teach at a private school, they're going to be around 25 or 30 or more than that. If you're working at a big company, it's going to be probably the same, around 30 hours a week or so. And also classes are going to widely vary depending on where you're teaching. I have a class that's about 30 or so, and then I have a class I got today that's about 69. So, things can really be quite varied. Ask about reimbursement for your travel to and from China to work at the school, because any decent school is going to pay you at least part of that. Ask about vacation times. Ask about your weekends. Will you have regular work hours? If you're going to teach at a school where you don't have weekends, f that. Don't work there. If you're going to teach at a school that doesn't have paid vacations, f that. Don't work there. You really should know these kind of things. You should ask about office hours. How many hours are you going to spend in that office waiting for students to come by or preparing lessons or something like that? Because some schools, like my school, I only get about 1 per week, 1 or 2 hours per week, which is great. And some schools stick you with 10 or 15 hours per week in office hours, plus all the other stuff you have to do, which is really not ideal. So you really need to ask that. Ask about accommodations. Do they give you a free apartment that you can live in, no utilities or gas or blah, blah, blah? Do you get that? Or do they give you some kind of allowance to go out and buy an apartment? Ask to see pictures. Ask how big they are. Things like that. Those are important because that's where you're going to live. Ask about retention rates. Ask about how many openings do they have per year. Ask about how many employees tend to stay on per year for the foreign teachers, I mean. Some schools may be a little cagey about this information and don't want to give it to you, but you could get around this by saying, well, I do have some other TESOL or TEFL certified friends who would like to teach in China, and if they could work at your school, that'd be great. And then maybe they might say, oh, well, we actually have 10 openings or 5 openings or something like that. If they've got more than 3 or 4 openings, then you probably should not go there. Like, for example, my university, Lanzhou Jiaotong University, has about 20 foreign teachers, maybe a few more than that. And this year we had 3 openings. 3 out of 20 or 21. That's a really good retention rate. That's about like hitting 85% or so. Only 3 people out of the 20 or 21 decided to leave. So that's pretty good. A school that's got a retention rate like that is going to be pretty good, obviously. I know that I love my job here, and pretty much every foreign teacher loves their job here. The people who left, one of them hated it, and 2 of them went home to get married or to take care of family matters. So they didn't want to leave. So keep in mind the retention rate and turnover rate. That's important. If you go through all this and decide that the school seems to be pretty decent, go ahead and ask for a contract. Don't sign it, just take a look at it. Ask for a contract in English and ask for a contract in Chinese. Okay, that's pretty important. And maybe you can, if you can't read Chinese, then you should probably take it to somewhere, because a lot of those private language schools that I hate so much, they'll send you an English one, you sign it, send it back, and then they have a Chinese one that you also have to sign, but the Chinese one is completely different from the English one. So get someone to verify that these contracts are the same. I did this whenever I signed on with this university. I read both of them. I read the English and I read the Chinese, and they were exactly the same, so they were very honest with it. And that's what you really want. You want a school that's very honest, a school that treats you like a person and doesn't lie to you. And sometimes that can be hard to find because a lot of these, especially private language schools, they are businesses. They don't give a about you. They just want their money. So just be careful when you're doing this. So yeah, I guess that's about all the tips and advice I can give you guys for right now. I get questions like these all the time, so I figured I'd just make a video. And if questions keep coming, I'll keep making videos. So I guess I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.